going off last week when we did values and beliefs. And today, I'm going to ask you guys to pretend to be members of the Supreme Court. And the case that you guys are going to be hearing comes from Alaska. What it has to do with was a student said that a principal violated his First Amendment rights when she suspended him for 10 days for holding up a sign that said, "Bong hits for Jesus" on a school-sponsored trip. So, on the top, you'll see some facts of the case I presented because this video doesn't really flesh it out as much as I would have liked. And at the bottom, you're going to see 2 guided questions that we're going to be doing after the video. So just watch it, read it, and then we'll talk after. Did you guys get?
As the symbolic through Juneau, Alaska on its way to the 2002 Olympics, Douglas Public High School let students stand on city streets to watch it pass by. When it did, Douglas student Joe Frederick unfurled this banner, "Bong hits for Jesus."
I find it absurdly funny. I was not promoting drugs. I assumed most people would take it as a joke.
His school principal didn't. She tore down the banner and suspended him. Frederick sued, arguing his constitutional rights were violated.
He was a citizen exercising free speech in a public place at a public event.
But the school argues
there was a field trip where the school was able and did exercise its authority.
in this case to prevent kids from being exposed to arguably pro-drug messages, according to its attorney, Kenneth Starr.
Schools should be able to put a stop to these kinds of pro-drug culture messages.
They disagree. As members of Students for a Sensible Drug Policy, they traveled to Washington to demonstrate for student speech rights.
They are learning at such a young age that freedom of speech is more a myth than a fact, and that is sort of a dangerous precedent to set for our country.
The court has long ruled schools do have rights to limit student speech, but Frederick's lawyer Douglas Mertz says they don't apply in this case.
The test is whether the exercise of free speech creates a substantial disruption in the educational process.
But what's disruptive enough to limit free speech? These California kids demonstrated against immigration policy last year. Others opposed the war in Iraq. Can schools muzzle those views? Some Christian groups filed briefs here arguing that too much school power could prevent kids from espousing religious views.
The legal rule that's established is going to cover a lot of different kinds of protests. It may involve student messages that are much more profound and are really aimed at some of the most important disputes in society.
Making bong hits for Jesus an important addition to First Amendment law. Gary Marienberg, CNN, Washington.
All right, just by a show of hands, who would rule in favor of the student? In favor of the school? All right, Brian, I saw your hand up for the student. Why?
Because after reading this, it seemed like he wasn't causing a disturbance. It was more just him putting that message up. Regardless of why he put it up, I mean, like they were saying at the end of the video, there are plenty of protesters and demonstrators. While some drugs are considered illegal, for a while gay marriage was considered illegal, and there were still prides and rallies for that. People wouldn't care if they had signs up saying gay pride. And I'm not trying to say these are similar in that respect, but I think it's along the same line.
It's a great point, but since it's a school-sponsored event, do you think that wouldn't people might get the message that the school's condoning that?
I mean, I can see some people as seeing that as a negative view in the school, like almost certainly. Like parents seeing that may not want their kids there, but is that causing a disturbance?
Okay, see your point. Now, who is in favor of the school?
Yeah, mostly just that it was a school-sponsored event. I remember the Vietnam one, where the guy had the message on the back discussed. I think the fact that it made that one, that they ruled in favor of the student, that his freedom of speech was violated. I think the only reason that they ruled in favor of him was that it was a political message, and you're free to exercise your beliefs on politics, but you don't know. They weren't really aiming for drug laws or drug policies or sort of just a joke, obviously. But I think yeah, as being part of a school-sponsored field trip or whatever, they are sort of representing the school. So I think the school.
But he is 18, so legally he's an adult, and it was in a public space.
Yeah, but you know, it's one thing if he went on Saturday and protested Bong for Jesus, but he did it on school time.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so second question. Does the school have official immunity from damage lawsuits under blah, 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 blah? In accordance with the school policy, she disciplines a student for displaying a banner with drug reference at a school-sponsored supervised event. So do you think that this lawsuit is valid because he's suing the principal? Or do you think that she should have, she should have immunity?
I feel like she should have immunity.
Why?
Because she's she's punishing him for advertising an illicit illegal activity at a school function.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, she's not attacking his character, she's attacking his event.
Well, if he's a representative of the school, like, he could be punished for it, like, yeah, she could be punished for it, but she's also a representative of the school.
Okay. Does anyone agree or disagree with him?
Was it just him that was punished, or was it the whole group that made the banner?
The banner was ripped down and he was suspended for 10 months. So you think that's a, fair and reasonable punishment for what happened?
I think if it was a group that actually did that, the whole group should have been punished, not just him.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the school had like expected this, and so maybe they didn't, go over what they are expected. Like they said it was the Olympic torch was running, so they probably didn't expect anybody to have any protests or anything. So they probably didn't see it coming. But maybe the school could be held partially responsible for not maybe telling the students what type of conduct they expect. I mean, I'm sure that was mostly implied, but you can always hold them responsible for not telling the students what they expect.
Okay.
Just partially.
Any more thoughts? Okay, so we've talked it over a little bit. You guys saw the video. You hopefully read what I included with the handout. So just by a show of hands, again, how many people would rule in favor of the student? Okay. And then who would rule in favor of the school? Okay. So about the same.